Now, as we get ready to jump into the course, I want to point out kind of the basis for the way that I teach programming. And then I also want to show you where you can find examples and some of the files you can work with in this course and give you a few tips. First of all, you need to understand there's going to be quite a few example projects in this course. You will find them out there in the work files folder. I'm going to show you in just a moment in what form they're going to be. You can simply, for example, look at the constructor example folder, just drag that to your machine, double click on the solution file, the .sln file in that folder, and it should open up working, totally finished in your Visual Studio environment. And then you can run it and debug it and so forth and play with it and look at the code that's in there. Now, I want to talk to you about these example projects and what you can expect here. I'm going to do all the example projects here based on Windows Forms projects because they're very simple, they're very straightforward. Most people that's done any Windows development have worked in these. We're going to stay away from the new XAML environments or any of those things because this is about C# programming functionality. Now, keep in mind, programming is the mixing of art and science. Understanding the functionality, say, of constructors or method overloads or whatever, that's science, and that's what you're going to get here in this course. We're talking in this course trying to help you prepare for this exam. So this is not a consulting course. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about how to make this thing do stuff. I just want you to understand the functionality because that's what you're going to be questioned on the exam. Now, assembling all these functionalities to actually produce a really cool, nice, user-friendly, smooth, efficient application, trust me, that's art. And what a really good developer does is they mix their understanding of the functionality into a really nice presentation that all fits together architecturally, and that is what creates a really good application. And I've always believed, and I've seen it myself in learning things, and I've seen it in others, simplicity is the key to understanding functionality. So every example you see here is going to be as simple as I could possibly make it. If I can get that light to kind of come on or just flicker a time or two in your brain when you look at something like, say, constructors or overloads or any of that stuff, then it's automatically going to kick off some ideas about an application you've been working on, or when you start working on one, you're going to say, hey, wait a minute, that clown in that class said something about when I instantiate an object, I can do this or that. So that's what I'm looking for here. Now, I also want to show you, let's talk about the examples and files. When you create a project in Visual Studio, it's going to automatically default to create a directory. And I'm going to show you where that is and one little thing you can do. So if I just go out there into an Explorer window, and if I look in my documents, all right, and if I scroll down just a little bit, I will see Visual Studio 2012. Now, if I open that up, you will see there's backup files, projects. I created this one, but then everything else should be there for you. Well, if you go into that projects folder, you will see all the projects that you have built in Visual Studio. All right, so I want to show you one thing here. If we go out there, for example, and we look at the inheritance example, if I open that folder, you will see there's my solution file. Notice Microsoft Visual Studio Solution. If I double click that, that will open Visual Studio, right? If I go into the inheritance example folder inside there, I will actually see my files. Now, I can right click the CS file and tell it to open that with Notepad. I don't even have to open Visual Studio, okay? Now, can I make changes out here? Yes, I can. You'll have to jump through hoops sometimes to get Visual Studio to pick it up. Most of the time it will. I don't want to get into that right now, but if you're ever wanting to see some code without ever having to go through the process of opening Visual Studio and having to wait for that, any of these .cs files will let you look into those things and see exactly what's going on, okay? And so notice there's my button click that's on my form code. So anyway, I hope this helps you, and you're going to see these projects in the work files folder. If you want to run this inheritance example, just simply grab this thing, drag it to your particular machine off of the DVD, and then open that folder, double click it, and you should get Visual Studio, and you should be able to work it. It'll work a lot better if you take them off the DVD. So just copy them to a location on your local machine, and you can go through them and run them and work with them, and you're going to see all these. Now, if I forget to mention, if I'm working in code out there, in any kind of example that's very complex at all, even if I forget to mention it, and I will, you can go out here and look in the work files folder and you will probably see a project with a name very similar to that particular video. So that's the way it's going to be structured here. I hope you really get a lot out of this. And so let's just jump in and get going.